This is our country. Stand up for it. Speak up for it.
So I will fight this fight until the end. Wherever the end is, we will fight. We're not going to stop.
Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has dropped a political bombshell, publicly accusing Police Minister Senzo Mchunu of corruption. But he didn't stop there. He also named Deputy National Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya and others as being part of a deeply rooted network of corruption within the nation of South Africa. This is not a small issue. This is not a meaningless event. This is a very big deal. Very few events in a country are as serious as this, yet instead of dropping everything and running to urgently address this issue, President Cyril Ramaphosa says he'll come back home when he's done with what he is doing.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has noted statements made in a media briefing by the South African Police Service KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Now, SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena spoke to presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya.
Well, Sophie, for the President, having noted the statement made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, this is a matter of grave concern. It's a matter of national security that is going to receive the highest priority attention.
Will the President attend to this matter perhaps on arrival?
Indeed, he will. As you know, the President will be wrapping up his visit tomorrow. The BRICS summit will be coming to an end tomorrow around midday, and thereafter the President will proceed to travel to South Africa. And this is the matter that he will be attending to as soon as possible.
As you know, I always make an example about a country being like a family. President Cyril Ramaphosa is like the father of South Africa, or the father in South Africa. If I, as a mother, hear that the security of my home is at risk, I would drop everything and go home to address it. I expect the same from my husband. There is no deal President Ramaphosa can secure at the BRICS summit that is more important than the safety and security of South Africans here at home. He's prioritizing international photo ops over urgent matters that demand his leadership. This is what happens when you have a leader who's more concerned about how he is perceived than what he actually delivers. A leader more invested in impressing foreign presidents than protecting his own citizens. Cyril Ramaphosa is an absent leader, the political equivalent of an absent father. While South Africans suffer, he's off sipping coffee and making small talk in rooms filled with fine food and flashing cameras. That's President Cyril Ramaphosa with India's Prime Minister Modi. And in the background, there's Ronald Lamola, all smiles, living their best lives. Meanwhile, nothing important is actually getting done. Just eating, drinking, and talking. No one is taking notes. No real negotiations are happening. Just another feel-good summit when the country needs him. Why not drop the fun and return home to deal with your corruption-plagued government? No, I'll come home when I'm done. Apparently, cocktail hour was more important than the explosive revelations made by General Mkhwanazi. If you have ever wondered what an unpatriotic, self-absorbed, out-of-touch president looks like, wonder no more. I present to you President Cyril Ramaphosa. Just scroll through the comments under that X post. South Africans are practically begging, tell Cyril to come home, because deep down everyone knows real leaders show up when the country's in crisis. They don't hide behind summits and all that is happening in Brazil, but not Cyril. He doesn't like accountability. He doesn't like crisis management. What he does like is talking, because, you know, Cyril is a talker.
On the issue of the announcement, or better still, what the Police Commissioner of KZN, General Mkhwanazi, said. I was not aware of it, that it was coming, and obviously it is a matter that I will be dealing with when I get home. I will need to look at it more closely and have a thoroughgoing discussion with a number of people, and thereafter there will be a clear way forward.
That's why in his mind, the solution to every national disaster is a national dialogue. Why? Because it gives him another opportunity to do what he does best. Talk, and talk some more. You know, if he was in Brazil for some serious, urgent, nation-changing agenda, it would be one thing, but he isn't. I mean, what are they there to do? They're there to reaffirm their commitment to closer cooperations and shared growth. Not some deal to get us investments. No. Not to help with getting rid of drug dealers. No. Not to help us sell our products at lower tariffs. Absolutely not. To reaffirm what they have already affirmed long ago. That is what our president is prioritizing over coming here to deal with the corruption that was revealed by Mkhwanazi. I mean, surely they can reaffirm over a call, over Zoom, Teams, or Google Meet. Why meet in person to reaffirm? Why use our taxes to do this reaffirming, paying for flights, hotels, and all other related costs? Why prioritize wasting our taxes on reaffirming instead of being here to deal with our issues of your nation? What a disappointment. Anyway, let's move to someone who is not a disappointment, but rather a source of pride, General Mkhwanazi himself. I say kudos to him. When we say let's love and save our country, this is what we are talking about. Expose the rot that is committed by those who hate our nation and are willing to destroy it. If exposing it through the ranks is proving futile, then break ranks and start talking to the media directly. Become a whistleblower if no one within is listening and taking necessary action. Do not be a coward, because the more cowards we have, the more criminals thrive. We have seen how our government is infected, a toxic mix of criminals and cowards. And the worst part is the cowards enable the criminals by staying silent. We have seen it over and over. Those brave enough to speak up against corruption are targeted. They're threatened. They're silenced. Some even end up in the mortuary. And once one voice is silenced, 10 more go quiet. That is their strategy. Intimidate a few and then control the rest. But here's the truth. They cannot silence all of us. Not 100, not 1,000, not 1,000,000, not 60 million South Africans. This is our country. Stand up for it. Speak up for it. Silence only protects them, not you. If you know something, say something. Say it boldly, say it publicly, because speaking up is your real shield. Silence only gives them cover to strike. Did you see just how they were shaking in their boots just minutes after Mkhwanazi had his media briefing? Think about it. If, God forbid, anything happens to Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, who will we look at? The ANC, Senzo Mchunu, Shadrack Sibiya, Brown, Vusimuzi, and every other compromised official that he named. The more public the truth, the harder it is for them to hide and execute their silencing. Sometimes we think that speaking up is dangerous, but in truth, it's how we protect ourselves. Silence doesn't save you. It buries you and the rest of our nation. We know the famous saying, right? For evil to triumph, it is only necessary for good men to do nothing. The more good men and women remain silent due to fear, cowardice, or even indifference, the more evil men and women triumph. The higher the chances of our country becoming a gangster's paradise. Fellow citizens, we are halfway there already. We all know drug dealers on our streets. I know one on my street. Some neighborhood children came to report to me about drug dealers on their streets. Do you mean to tell me that our police, whose job it is to find these kinds of people, have no idea that there are drug dealers on our streets? A TV show called Sizokuthola goes from province to province to capture drug dealers, and you mean to tell me that the police do not know about them? Really? Have you not felt that we might be changing ministers, but there has been no real change on the ground? Over the years, as long as it has been ANC, we know that different people have been occupying the police minister and commissioner positions, and yet you don't see any change on the ground. Minister after minister, commissioner after commissioner, but everything remains the same. Everyone knows that when there is new management, things change a bit. Even in the corporate world, we have noticed that if you get a new manager to lead you, they will bring a bit of their own energy, right? But not in government. No, everything has been staying the same over and over again. Guys, Mkhwanazi's accusations are not science fiction. We know for a fact that all citizens know very well that the police have become corrupt. No one wonders if the police are corrupt. We know they are corrupt. The question is, which ones are the corrupt ones? Out of everything that Mkhwanazi was reporting on, is there anything that is not true? He mentioned issues that can be easily measured.
The Provincial Commissioner called the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Police, and asked the Chief of Staff, who is this Brian Mkhwanazi? This Brian Mkhwanazi seems to be traveling with the Minister to Lusikisiki. Who is he? Because I've never heard of him. The response from the Chief of Staff was that Mr. Brian Mkhwanazi is an associate of the Minister, but is not employed in a department. That's when I got a confirmation about Mr. Brian Mkhwanazi.
He named a tenderpreneur who was in cahoots with the Minister of Police, and he says there's digital evidence to prove it.
The evidence has been found in the cell phone of Mr. Vusimus, also known as Cat Matlala, which shows the communication between Mr. Brian Mkhwanazi and the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu. I must highlight that this Mr. Vusimus Cat Matlala is an individual who was awarded a police contract of over 360 million rand in 2024. Further analysis of the chats indicates that Vusimus Cat Matlala is financially supporting the Minister of Police and Mr. Brian Mkhwanazi's political endeavors. This is supported by the evidence of conversation and the proof of payments of guests for January 8 traveling cost and the Ghana dinner in Cape Town.
There are people who are able to check if that evidence is real. Let it be checked, and once checked, come back and tell the citizens and take necessary action, whether to punish Mkhwanazi for making false claims or arresting the relevant people if Mkhwanazi was telling the truth. Easy.
As we speak, the South African Police Service, KwaZulu-Natal, still does not have a leader within crime intelligence because of the letter where the minister suspended the filling of vacancies at crime intelligence, which is dated the 31st of December. So to date, we don't have a command of crime intelligence in this province. We are trying to figure out on our own how to infiltrate syndicates because the minister decided these posts must not be filled.
Did Mchunu stop the appointments of key personnel? It's easy to verify. We know for a fact that those positions have not been filled. Therefore, the question becomes, why?
On the 26th of March 2025, this year, a total of 121 case dockets that were under investigation were taken away from the task team as directed by a Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, a Lieutenant General Sibiya, who was acting on the instruction of the Minister of Police to disband the team. This was done without the authority of the National Commissioner, nor I, as a Provincial Commissioner, was never informed. These case dockets have since March been sitting at the head office ever since, without any investigation work done on them. 5 of these dockets had already instruction to arrest perpetrators, but nothing has been done because a Lieutenant General Sibiya, being instructed by the minister, or well, executing instruction of the minister, withdrew all these dockets and they're sitting in archive in his office in Pretoria. God knows why.
Did someone try to dissolve a crime intelligence unit? Evidence of that is also available. These are real issues, easy to prove or disprove. Instead, we get people like this one. They want protocol. They want good manners. They want Mkhwanazi to follow the procedure.
Forensic consultant Paul O'Sullivan joins us now for more reaction.
So the question is, did Mkhwanazi get permission from Masemola to hold a media conference where he slated the Minister of Police and other senior personnel in the police?
All right.
Or did he act on his own? And I think the investigation needs to discover who was behind his press conference today. And it also needs to discover why he was dressed in combat uniform. He's a police official. He's the head of KZN Provincial Police. He's not a task force member. So why was he wearing task force uniform? And why was he having task force members on both sides of him? It's almost like he's challenging who? The government? He's challenging the police. Who is he challenging? And he's setting out all these people around him. If you have a look at the pictures, it's very, very clear. He's surrounded by people with R5 weapons, and they're all wearing masks, so we can't see who they are.
Okay, Paul, I must come in there.
It looks dangerously suspicious, and it looks dangerously like he's threatening a coup.
When will you get it through your thick head? The system is corrupt, and you do not simply toe the line if the system is corrupt. You have to say something loud and clear to get the attention of the public, who will in turn put pressure on the politicians to do something. Now, instead of dealing with the accusations of corruption at the highest levels of our law enforcement, this man is instead telling us that Mkhwanazi himself is corrupt.
What were you thinking when you were listening to that news conference and the evidence that Mkhwanazi says he has that backs up the claims that he made today?
What Mkhwanazi has stated. Let's go back to the year 2012. In 2012, Mkhwanazi was the acting commissioner of police, and he never became the commissioner of police because he was found unsuitable. And he eventually ended up as the commissioner of police for KZN. At the time when he was commissioner of police, Masemola, that's the current chief of police, the current commissioner of police, Masemola was the acting head of crime intelligence. And when Masemola was acting head of crime intelligence, Mkhwanazi approved the unlawful expenditure by Masemola of 35 million rand of public funds on buying luxury cars. And that was in the early part, the first quarter of 2012. Now, if we bring it a little bit further forward, both Mkhwanazi and Masemola joined a police supplier on an overseas trip. And the pair of them came back with, Louis Vuitton. It's a very expensive ladies' handbag. And the pair of them came back with a gift from the police supplier, being a Louis Vuitton handbag. And from what I can gather, neither of them disclosed at customs the fact that they had in their possession a gift worth somewhere between 70 and 100,000 rand each. And then what did they do? They probably gave these bags to their wives.
Imagine, instead of addressing what is before us today, you want to take us back to 2012. Really? Now, let's just say O'Sullivan's accusations are true. Does it mean that whatever Mkhwanazi is saying now is meritless? Was Mkhwanazi lying on the 6th of July 2025 simply because he received a Louis Vuitton bag in 2012? Was he? Where did you report the case regarding the Louis Vuitton bags? And what happened to that case? If Mkhwanazi is corrupt, we should also get rid of him. But the accusations he made against the police minister, the deputy national commissioner, and others still remain. And the question is, are they true or are they false? If he's corrupt, we should also address his corruption and deal with him. But right now, we're dealing with the current matter at hand. Let's all look at the accusations from Mkhwanazi and address them. We cannot ignore this simply because someone did not follow the right processes, simply because he's wearing combat or special forces uniform. This man is talking absolute nonsense, I tell you. This is the same man who said Cyril Ramaphosa was being framed for the Phala Phala issue.
But let's get back to the issue at hand here. What we do know is that Arthur Fraser, who you have laid criminal charges against, has exposed something that happened at Phala Phala, which is now threatening Cyril Ramaphosa's presidency. The Financial Times of London this morning was reporting on it. We have had a report into it by 2 judges and an attorney who say that he has to answer charges. Given the closeness that you have to this whole saga, how are you reading that part of it? Sure, he's not going to resign irresponsibly, but James Mkhwanazi told a radio station that Cyril had told him he would resign because of the whole Phala mess. Yet that is, whether it's responsible or not, it's a possibility.
This is a message I sent to somebody who is extremely close, and I know is extremely close to Cyril. And I sent this at 5 o'clock last night when I read this article on News 24. I said the following to him. I said, make sure Cyril knows he will plunge this country into chaos if he resigns. He did nothing wrong and he must stay and captain the ship.
Speaking up in defense of rotten people seems to be a thing that this man is fond of. Pathetic. And yet he keeps being invited to give his input as an expert. He claims some of Mkhwanazi's claims are false.
Now, if we take it to the present day, we have Mkhwanazi, the Commissioner of Police for Natal, suddenly calling a press conference. And in that press conference, he dishes the Minister of Police. And he makes a lot of allegations in that press conference. And although he only made those allegations at midday today, I've had an opportunity to go through them. And some of them, the ones that I have been able to go through and ascertain, I'm satisfied that they're false allegations, which means Mkhwanazi is on a mission of his own.
Which ones? Well, let's hear it.
I want to go back. You said that even though it's been a few short hours, you managed to go back and look at some of what Mkhwanazi presented to the public today, and you have established that some of those are false allegations. Just enumerate for us, Paul, which ones you say, even just with a quick investigation, do not stand up to scrutiny.
Well, there's a number of them, and I don't think I want to go into them. And the reason why I don't want to go into them is because Mkhwanazi has acted unlawfully. He's put in the public domain details of criminal investigations which are still ongoing, and that's unheard of.
I'd rather not say. Can you believe this guy, huh? Imagine protecting people who are in the wrong and finding fault in the brave patriots for not following protocol. So in case you're not aware, we are in a country where people have been getting deleted for trying to address issues in private, keeping things internal and so forth. This is not an internal matter. This is a matter we all should know about. This is a matter involving our security, our taxes, our safety. So internal for who? Don't keep it hidden simply because that's what protocol dictates. Procedures are sometimes there to keep the public in the dark, and the dark is exactly where the criminals lurk. Criminals thrive on secrecy. Ministers and commissioners will claim that this is top secret, and criminals hope that you keep everything top secret. South Africa, we need whistleblowers. We need men and women ready to stand up and fight or die for their country. In this whole country, I know we have more people who can speak up, and they should.
I, fortunately, am a citizen in this country. My families are spread across different provinces. So it is my duty and the fellow police officers to protect them. So I'm not going to surrender their freedom. I'm not going to surrender their safety to anyone. So I will fight this fight until the end. Wherever the end is, we will fight. We're not going to stop. We've got family members, brothers and sisters. We've got children.
They deleted Babita Deokaran. Just a few weeks ago, an Ekurhuleni auditor, Mpomolefe, was also deleted. Deleted for what? Possibly for doing his job. When you go head on with these people, you must have some contingency plans. Have a plan B just in case they delete you. Give a relative a bunch of files that they can only open if something happens to you. Files that can be sent to Citizen Concerned, Daily Maverick, Morning Shot, 360 Experience, etc. Be ready for war, guys. What Mkhwanazi shared with South Africa must be followed up by an investigation and arrests. Jail time, jail time, jail time. Nothing less. Now, do you remember when another general from the military called out the politicians regarding the poor state of the military?
And I'm appealing to the politicians that are here that next time you sit down and debate, think whether you are protected or not. Because that grant that you're giving to the people out there, the education of your children and everything else will not materialize if you're not protected. I'm sure many of you know that we are sharing our grants for the poor with people who are not supposed to share the grants. And that is because we are not protected. Our borders are porous. And they're porous because you, the politicians, have decided you want a Mickey Mouse Defense Force. I'm sorry to say that.
What did the foolish ANC people start saying?
Because we can't have generals who speak recklessly like this. We know, even in other countries, generals can't speak as they wish. Because a general is a person of privilege who has the military capability and capacity to can cause instability in the country. Because a general speaking like this creates a trust deficit between the system or the establishment and the public. So for a general to say like this, it means the country is in trouble. He needs to explain more. We need to get his competency level. We need to understand how he qualified to be a general if he does not know his responsibility. What he's saying is correct, but he did not have a sense of occasion. Where he said it's wrong, and secondly, and it's wrong for it to be said by anybody who's wearing a uniform. There must be protocol, there must be decorum, there must be doctrine. We're running a national defense force.
Protocol, follow procedure, there must be decorum. Right now, Mkhwanazi said something, and instead of saying heads must roll, here's the ANC Youth League leader opening his mouth for the flies to come out.
Days of statements and populism have ended. If he has got evidence on them, he must arrest them. We're not a country of lawlessness. We don't want statements. We don't want press briefings. We want people to be arrested. If you are doing crime, you're putting drugs in our country, you're working with criminals, arrest them. We don't want commissioners that are becoming politicians. We want commissioners that act. His role as a commissioner of police is to arrest those who do crime. Now, we don't want him to be a pop star. If he wants to contest politics, he must come to branches of the ANC and contest. But if he wants to be a commissioner, he must arrest those who do crime. We don't want statements, we want arrests.
Imagine. Basically, the message is clear. Whether we're incompetent or corrupt, shut your mouth and follow the right protocol. Shut your mouth and request a meeting. When you find problems, just keep quiet. But we will not keep quiet. We must not keep quiet. Thank you, Mkhwanazi, for not keeping quiet. And fellow South Africans, I hope that you too have been encouraged to not keep quiet. Please share this video with other citizens whose silence is allowing evil and destruction to thrive in South Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.